Sean Diddy Combs.
Sean Diddy Combs.
Sean Diddy Combs.
Facing new allegations of sexual assault.
Rap mogul Sean Diddy Combs faced numerous lawsuits in 2023 and 2024 from a range of allegations accusing him of sexual assault, sex trafficking, and multiple drugs and weapons charges. Yet, the rap impresario's family are also coming under scrutiny, with Diddy also being implicated in a lawsuit targeting assault towards one of his sons, Christian King Combs, after hiring a private yacht. The lawsuit against both Sean and Christian Combs was filed on April 4, 2024, by Grace O'Marcaigh after the Combs family rented the private yacht Victorious in California for much of December 2022. O'Marcaigh worked on the ship as a stewardess, where her role was to serve the yacht's clientele with drinks and food when the boat was chartered on the water. It was during the 2022 festive period that Sean Combs hired Victorious for an unspecified number of days. Combs himself stayed on the ship for the entirety of the 2 weeks it was hired out for. Meanwhile, both of Diddy's sons, Christian King Combs and Justin Dior Combs, were regular visitors being based at a villa on land. Diddy held numerous parties on the boat, especially during the period between Christmas and New Year, where O'Marcaigh alleges that lots of alcohol and drugs were taken during these parties. On the 28th of December 2022, it's alleged that King Combs wanted to record music on the ship, coming on board at around 5 a.m. Combs wanted to record a song and work with producer Rodney Lil Rod Jones, who was staying on the ship to help record and create Diddy's 2023 album, The Love Album, Off the Grid. Upon arriving on the yacht, it's alleged that King was severely intoxicated upon arrival and immediately glasses for him to drink tequila. O'Marcaigh served Combs during this time, and she was allegedly encouraged to drink shots under the repeated requests of the client. Having reportedly seen the ship's captain take a tequila shot with Diddy earlier in the night, O'Marcaigh agreed to take one with King before leaving the studio. However, King purportedly asked her to continue drinking with him, giving her little choice to refrain from his requests. According to King, it was shot o'clock, which O'Marcaigh responded by saying, "No, I'm not doing shots, Christian." As she tried to leave the studio, King allegedly grabbed O'Marcaigh's arm and pulled her to the seat to continue drinking. It's alleged that during this time, King was continually eyeing up the stewardess in the room. The pair both continued drinking the shots, although King stopped after several, before continually forcing O'Marcaigh to keep drinking with them. At this point, the stewardess believed that King was groping her inappropriately, touching her legs, bum, breasts, and vagina. The unwanted physical contact also saw King repeatedly try to kiss and grope the stewardess despite her rejecting his advances. O'Marcaigh was clear about rejecting him, telling King at one point to "Get your hand off my ass." She eventually was able to retreat to the yacht's pantry, where she crossed paths with another steward. Her colleague reportedly saw O'Marcaigh in shock and intoxicated towards the end of her shift. Shortly before the end of her shift, Combs reportedly summoned O'Marcaigh and requested for her to find a place to stay on the yacht. However, all the cabins were occupied by sleeping occupants at the time. Despite being informed of this, King refused to leave the yacht, demanding to find a place to sleep. It was at this point that O'Marcaigh suggested the ship's theater room, where she led him to. The theater only had one entry point. Upon trying to leave, King reportedly blocked the doorway, preventing the stewardess from leaving. He then allegedly cornered her in another section of the room, where he started getting physical towards her and groping her body. After starting to grope her, King took off all his clothes, exposing his erect penis in front of her. Despite trying to push him away, King reportedly made numerous attempts to force O'Marcaigh to perform oral sex on him. They began fighting more strenuously as a result of this act. The furor ended when O'Marcaigh entered the theater, startling Combs. The stewardess's partner had been searching for her after she failed to return to their cabin at the end of her shift. During the incidents outlined by O'Marcaigh, she claimed that King Combs reportedly sexually assaulted her. She claims this happened both in the studio and in the theater room. The allegations of sexual assault were particularly heralded from reported audio captures in the studio, where words were exchanged between the pair. At one point, Combs says, "Do you feel me?" To which O'Marcaigh responds with, "Excuse me, don't touch my legs like that. I'll move my legs where I want to. You don't touch my legs like that." She claims this was part of the repeated gropes made by Combs, and similar actions were attempted on all her sensitive areas during this altercation. O'Marcaigh also laid down claims that King assaulted her during this incident. When she was grabbed on her arms, several heavy bruises indicated some physical contact had been made. Yet the incident wasn't just underlined by physical contact. She also alleges that the tequila was laced with drugs by King to make it easier for her to acquiesce to his demands. Omarke allegedly underlined this with another audio snapshot between the pair, taken from earlier in their exchanges in the studio. At one point, Combs tells her to take the whole thing, to which Omarke replies, "I'm only doing it if you do as well." However, King rebukes this plainly, stating, "I ain't going to lie, I'm not taking nothing." At this point, Omarke questions this, stating, "Are you drugging me?" The only response she gets from Combs is, "Take the shot." It's these actions that led to Omarke shifting focus away from King Combs and tying everything back to Diddy, the person chartering the yacht. For much of the time, it's claimed that Diddy held numerous parties where large amounts of alcohol and drugs were taken. Almost all of the alcohol drunk during this time was Combs' own De Leon brand, and she cited that many people were smoking marijuana and taking other drugs. Because of encouraging a culture of debauchery, she felt that Diddy aided his son's actions by fostering an environment that supported people making such actions. However, some of the more serious claims towards Diddy were more about the aftermath of the incident between Christian Combs and Omarke. The stewardess allegedly reported the incidents to the yacht's captain, Peter Markov. However, Markov not only disregarded the incident but accused Omarke of willingly participating in the actions. To add further insult to injury, Markov reportedly made Omarke personally serve Christian Combs whenever he was on board during her working hours. She stated that this was down to Diddy allegedly paying off Markov to overlook the incident. She claims that Markov was given a substantial cash tip by Diddy towards the end of his charter. It's alleged that this bonus not only saw Markov look the other way, but also declined to give statements when Omarke tried to take the matter further. All of these actions subsequently took a heavy toll on the stewardess after the Combs charter ended. Omarke claims that it destroyed both her personal and professional career. Not only did she never work on a yacht again, but she claims that the scars from that night caused her to regularly suffer seizures from stress, rendering her unable to carry out simple tasks. On top of that, it acted as a catalyst for the end of her relationship with her partner, and she has been unable to hold down a job in hospitality since the incident. Whilst Christian Combs is seemingly the main aggressor within Omarke's lawsuits, some of the claims raised during this lawsuit tie in heavily with others filed against Diddy. Most of these seem to tie in with claims filed in the lawsuit by Rodney Lil Rod Jones, who sued Diddy for $30 million in damages in March 2024. Jones himself spent the entire period of the charter on board the yacht as he was one of the main producers, helping Diddy with the Love album. It's also claimed that Jones provided Omarke with the audio to give her case further substance with complicit evidence. Omarke seemingly verifies several incidents raised by Jones in his lawsuit and further sheds light on some of the actions Diddy has been accused of doing. First of all, Omarke seems to put herself as a witness to the alleged assault on Jones by actor Cuba Gooding Jr. In the lawsuit, she claims that Gooding Jr. was regularly on the yacht and was often intoxicated when she served him. She further goes on to claim that he was the Hollywood star who groped Jones against his wishes. Furthermore, she raises allegations that lots of women came and went from the yacht in quick order. She believes this was proof of sex trafficking and freak-offs occurring on the ship. This was underlined by Omarke regularly seeing lots of young women entering and leaving the ship within 30 minutes and only serving time in private cabins. She also spelled one incident where she discovered one of the young women hysterically crying, claiming that she didn't feel safe on board and around Combs and his entourage. It was bad enough that she ran to a lower deck and locked herself in the ship's massage room before Omarke could get her to leave. A lot of this action also puts several of the figures named in Jones's lawsuit as being particularly active on the ship too. For starters, close celebrities such as Young Miami and French Montana were named in both lawsuits. Omarke further adds that both were participants in several of the parties, as well as possible sexual liaisons. Furthermore, several of Diddy's staff were named as being actively involved with actions on the ship. Christina Coram, Diddy's chief of staff, was often running interference to keep things looking above board. This included getting staff to hurriedly remove all alcohol bottles from the site so Diddy could meet several unnamed famous faces and acquaintances. On top of that, Brendan Paul was also named as having a regular presence on the yacht. Paul was named by Lil Rod as being the main drug supplier for Diddy. Omar K further adds to these claims in her lawsuit by alleging that he was there to give Diddy an extra buzz whenever he needed it when on the ship. Diddy himself was also accused of exposing himself multiple times when partying on the ship. This included when in the presence of fellow rappers and even the mother of Christian Combs. Omar K's allegations added further fire to a litany of severe allegations placed against Diddy in recent months. Although Diddy's lawyer has refuted the claims made by Omar K, they link very closely to the accusations made by Rodney Jones.